You're listening to Thoughtful Wellness Revolution with Zara and Hien, where we believe wellness isn't wellness if it's just for you. Today, you're listening to a preview of a bonus episode. Before we get started, remember to give us a 5-star rating and review. Let's get into it.
So this is our bonus episode with the amazing Jennie. And, there's something that kind of came to my mind, or I feel like really clarified some things for me. In the main episode, Jennie, you're talking about how, even for people who are not pregnant or who are child-free or not planning on being pregnant, that by supporting folks who are going to give birth, it helps to strengthen community. And that really struck something with me because I'm one of those people who have thought before, like, okay, I understand that birth work is important for folks who go through birth, for folks to get pregnant and for families growing and whatnot. Like, I understand that that's important, but there was always a piece of me that is also kind of like, yeah, and so what? Like how does that relate at all to me, just as a woman who is not pregnant right now, is not planning on getting pregnant for the foreseeable future. And so, it was just really interesting because of the way I think living in the US, we've forgotten the way community plays into everything. Yes. And understanding that birth and supporting people who give birth strengthens community is just something that's like really on my mind. And I wonder if you want to share more about that.
Yes, I'm happy to share more about that. I have a Native American colleague, a midwife colleague, and one of her expressions is that the womb is the first environment. And, those of us that have a womb have then, the chance that maybe whether we plan or don't plan, that there is going to be at some point a child growing there. And so it really is the universal thing. There's that part of, the life where you are going to be perhaps in those years, childbearing years, as we call them, from, the menarche, which is your first period, through to menopause when your last period has happened. All that time, that's a long time for some people. That could be 30, 40 years, could be 50 years, right? It's a long time. So what we've lost is the ability to relate to ourselves in that way and to each other in that way. In America, we particularly, again, as I said earlier, are fear-based. And so women's health then becomes fear-based. Young girls get their periods and it's like panic stations and pain and drama and subterfuge and scheming, lying, and all kinds of stuff shows up around blood, right? As if we're surprised. Like, what else do we expect to happen? We know what happens. So likewise, everybody being able to just open up and acknowledge the fertility and the option of fertility and to embrace that however is best for them, but to use that time also to expand out of themselves and into others. So whether it's close family or strangers, it doesn't really matter. But the acknowledgement that when there is life coming, when there's a pregnancy ongoing, that we can see other ways than just being in the medical response to that pregnancy. We talk about it takes a village. Everyone's heard that expression, right? That's kind of what that means. If any and everybody, with whichever gift they have to give, that is just giving. Why? Because, right? Just because. So if you look at the history of midwifery, it was always that the midwives were available. They gave of themselves. And you can go back to biblical times. When Pharaoh said, kill the male children, the midwives lied and hid that the baby boy was born, right? The midwives have been mentioned historically. Midwives are in ancient Egypt on the hieroglyphics. Midwives and midwifery, women being with women in the medical. But the community is always also there. The partners, the siblings, the grandparents, your neighbors. We've always had option and opportunity to be part of that. We have just sort of made a barrier for ourselves. So I encourage everyone, pregnant or non, planning or non, wanting to have kids or not, to consider each new child coming belongs to the community, is part of our community, and that we can all share in whatever small way or large way that we choose once we open up to it. So that's what I would say about that. Now, but the flip side of that is then also recognizing that you are worthy of being taken care of as well. So yeah, I'm talking about self-care, but not in that sort of kind of self-care, oh, isn't that cute kind of way, like bubble bath self-care. I'm talking about the self-care that is what we've learned, and we've coined the phrase is collective care. The self-care that says, I honor you as well as I honor myself. And in taking care of myself, I'm doing that so I can be there for you.
Thank you for listening to the Thoughtful Wellness Revolution podcast. For the full episode and more bonus content, you can go to thoughtfulwellnessrevolution.substack.com and subscribe for only $5 a month.